Hey, listen, so here at Epic, we have insurance agents, we have all different professionals in the space of what we do. And every once in a while, folks will come in, put all of their time and effort over 10, 20, 30 years, and they'll present to us their IRA or 401k balances, and now it's time to retire and they want to take distributions. And I'm not going to say 9 out of 10, but I'd say at least 6 or 7 out of 10, my opinion, that have come through these hallways, when they get to retirement, they actually thought that their IRA or 401k is tax-free. So today, what we're going to talk about is how to avoid paying taxes on your IRA withdrawals. So, according to the dictionary, I'm going to read specifically what tax avoidance means, and it's an action taken to lessen the tax liability and at the same time maximize after-tax income. What's interesting to me is I've always believed that when somebody says, hey, buy term insurance and invest the difference, or put all your money over here, unless you're going to be an expert in that space, in the end, you're subjecting yourself to risks of things that you can't control. What are some of the risks that you can't control? You can't control market volatility. You can't control fees. You can't control interest rates or inflation. Now, let me be very clear. What I'm about to say, I want you to double check with your accountant and also understand I am not a fiduciary, right? So when it comes to how can I withdraw from my IRA tax-free, it can be done strategically, and it's also based on current law at the time that you're going to make these decisions on the withdrawal side. So what does that mean? That means long before you get to retirement, you have to make sure that all your professionals are on the same page. You understand, at least from a big picture standpoint, the history of taxes, because remember, since the 1960s, the tax law has changed about 35 times, which means that your withdrawals on certain products are subjected to whatever the tax code or the tax percentage is in that particular year. But let me just speak in general terms. So if you're a married couple and today you were not taking any Social Security, you're above 60, your standard deduction if you're single is $12,400. If you're married, it's $24,800. What does that mean? Once again, you could take out of an IRA $24,000, assuming there's no Social Security or no other income. From that perspective, you would be able to have a withdrawal tax-free. Why? Because you get the deduction as a married couple and or as an individual for $12,400. So to answer the question on how to take distributions from your IRA and being a tax avoidance or not paying taxes, once again, if we're in 2020, there's no Social Security or no other earned income or ordinary income, you have the standard deduction as an individual of $12,400, which means up to $12,400, you could take that out. Or if you're married, it's $24,800. So now that we know, okay, we're at $24,800. Now, 20 or 30 years ago, if you decided to invest in muni bonds, and 10 and 15 years ago, you decided to invest in Roth IRAs, fast forwarding to today, what does that mean? You can now take distributions from the munis, avoid taxes, as well as distributions from the Roth IRA. So no Social Security, no ordinary income, distributions from munis, Roth IRA, and up to the standard deduction if you're married would allow you to take distributions tax-free. So now let's talk bigger strategies on top of everything else I just talked about. Now remember, if there's ordinary income or Social Security, it's going to be impossible to avoid taxes on these withdrawals. But with that being said, let's assume that you have a really big IRA and or 401k, and you also have a lot of real estate. Here's just a strategy from a tax avoidance perspective. Once again, this requires estate attorneys and accountants to be on the same page. With that, you have real estate. You want to put it into a charitable remainder trust. Let's assume the property's worth $2 million. Let's assume your IRA or 401k is worth $2 million. You take that property, You put it into a charitable remainder trust, and when you do that, you get tax benefits. You could then measure those tax benefits against the distributions on the IRA or 401k, and that's another way of equalizing it out and avoiding taxes. So here at Epic, one of the things that we really specialize in, and this is everything tied into this topic because this is a complicated topic. I want to be very clear on that. There's no direct way to avoid taxes on withdrawals of IRAs, unless, of course, it's today. There's no ordinary income, you're married, you're both taking a standard deduction, and there's no Social Security. You could take up to $24,000 a year, and you want to talk to your accountant about that. With that being said, we're always looking to strategize. We're always looking to be creative. We always want to make sure that the right hand is talking to the left hand, and in that space for you. If you like what you hear every single day, we're pushing out content, click the subscribe button. If you have any questions, because there's a lot of information in this video that could lead to really good educated questions, we'd love to be able to answer them. Feel free to put those questions below. If you have any specific comments, great, and I will make sure one of the team members reaches out to you. Hey, listen, folks, everything I share with you, please call your accountant directly, run all this information by them to make sure it's valid, not only from a standpoint federally, but also whatever state you're in. It's important that the accountant blesses the conversation and or the bullet points that I spoke about today.